Hello everybody, welcome back to another Battle Brothers build video. Today I'm going to be talking not about how to build a certain character, but how to incorporate a certain type of weapon into your builds. I'm talking about whips. Whips are something that I didn't really use in my first campaign, the campaign you might see a lot of on this channel. It's like 800 days, and I built a lot of my characters. I installed DLC mid-campaign, so I didn't have access to whips until mid-campaign, so I built a lot of my characters pre-whip, which means I have one. I have one on the Bannerman. That's really it. But in this new campaign, I'm trying to utilize more whips. I have 3 characters using them right now, and I think it's really making fights a lot easier. So, whips, if you aren't aware, are a type of cleaver. So cleaver spec is actually what you would use for this. So the regular crack the whip effect is trash. Does nothing. It does a little bit of bleed and like no other damage. It's really quite bad. The good ability about whips though is disarm, which will take out the it will remove the weapon from an enemy's hand, so they have to use their fist, which is obviously great. When it hits, it will always work. There are some enemies that are immune to disarm, like the Conqueror, like the boss of the Black Monolith. But most regular, I think almost every other regular enemy is basically guaranteed disarm. Like Orc warlords are, Orc berserkers, zweihandlers, hedge knights, you name it. So, you need to use a whip though. You definitely need cleaver mastery, because disarm usually has a minus, I think it's 15% hit penalty, and it's really fatigue intensive to be doing disarms. So you want cleaver mastery to help out both of those things. So disarm has 5 AP, which means you never make a pure whip guy, because he can't do anything. Like you disarm one guy in a turn, and that's it. So to use whips, you need quick hands, and you need another weapon really. So I have got 3 builds. These 2 are basically the same, and then I have the banner, who all use whips. So 5 AP means I can't use the polearm and the whip at the same time, which sucks. But I have it on the banner, because when you think about it, what does a banner do? If you don't have a whip, the banner is there for rally, and that's it. He's usually got like a subpar polearm, a subpar melee accuracy, so he's like a pretty trashy polearm user, which means he's got like nothing else really going for him. So I'm like, throw a whip on him, and he can disarm people. Because where do you bring a banner? You bring it to undead fights, you bring it to orc fights, you bring them to ancient undead fights, and then I guess if you count necrosavants as separate, you bring it to necrosavant fights. Actually, no, for the whip, you'd bring it to necrosavant fights, but for the other 3, you would actually bring it for the rally ability. I guess to Alps as well, but you're not going to be disarming Alps. But so let's go with this. You have ancient undead. Start with that. Disarming. You use the banner to because they have fearsome, so you use the banner to help that, and you disarm pikes or just any other dangerous ancient undead. Totally worth it. Necrosavants, disarming them in the same category. Totally worth it. You bring a banner to orc warlord fights, because the warlord has his screech. He goes, "Ah," and then he makes everyone scared. So you disarm him, or you disarm berserkers. Great. And then in undead fights, you obviously have to bring the banner for geists. And the geists like to sit behind zombies. So if you can quick switch to a whip with a range of 3, smack a geist, and go back, that is amazing. So it totally works with this banner build right here. Next is it's more of a duelist. This is a cleaver duelist, as opposed to an axe duelist. I got this. I just want to say I got like a max roll and an orc cleaver, pretty baller. But for the same reasons, you have 4 AP on this cleaver swing right here. You switch, and then you can disarm. It's amazing, And then same here. You have 2-handed cleaver, and the 2-handed cleaver can switch, because it actually only takes 4 AP to swing with a 2-handed cleaver, so you can still switch and disarm. That's great. So on these builds, this is what I'm running right now. I'm running student, obviously. Then you have, I'm just going to go down the list. I have recover, because orc cleavers and disarms and swinging these things, especially like decapitate or whatever, brings up a lot of stam really quickly. So you're going to be needing to recover. You have quick hands, obviously, to switch between the two weapons. I have rotate, because these two builds are frontliners, and I build rotate on all my frontline. Same with brawny. You have cleaver spec, obviously. I use underdog on both my front lines. Same with battleforged. I have berserk as well, just on like all my front line. Now, this guy has he was originally a two-hander build. I built the way I've done this campaign is I built like base two-hander classes, and then once I got a legendary weapon, then I spec'd them. So this isn't entirely how I would spec this. I would probably drop, maybe drop Indom, take Killing Frenzy, maybe not. But maybe if I didn't have to take Colossus on this guy, he had like 60 HP. But this is the build I have. And then for the Duelist, I have gone Berserk, Duelist, and Killing Frenzy. I don't have Indom. But on my Duelist, I run the Orc Necklace, so I don't need it for the stuns. So I can throw this guy in a bunch of Orc Young, and he'll just slaughter. So that's how I've built these two characters. Just running over again, so they're really good for disarming enemies, which is good because they can kind of solo people if need be. You know, you hit and then you disarm. It's really good in you know, like I said, orc fights. It's great. Chosen, it's great. It's great in against fallen heroes. If you get a fallen hero with a nasty weapon like a flail or whatever, great against geists. Great against you want to get like a polearm guy in the back. There's a lot of fights where whips are useful, and they're not necessary. Like I said, I've made it to day 800 without using more than one whip on a team. But whips really make fights more easy, so I totally suggest that you just start using whips. Just quick side note, the two whips, there's named whips, but we're not talking about those. So you have the battle whip, then you have the thorned whip. So comparing the two, you have 1530, 1025. Then you have 1525, 2030. So I think the thorned whip is better. So whip damage sucks, but you want to get the bleed. If anything, you want to get the bleed. So doing this, you have 0 to 13 can ignore armor on this whip right here. Well, this is it's because it's duelist, but it's like 0 to 6. All right, well, here, 0 to 6 can ignore armor. So you need to have HP damage to actually start bleeding an enemy. So having 0 to 6 to ignore armor versus 0 to 3 that can ignore armor means I'm pretty sure the thorned whip is better. That is purely hypothetical, but that's what I'm going to go with. So try and get thorned whips. You get thorned whips from Barbarians, from the Beastmasters, yes. I just want to say, actually, if you disarm Beastmasters, they can still crack the whip on armored unholds, so whatever. But so try using whips. Definitely get on the banner, because the banner needs some sort of utility. If you have a duelist and you get a good cleaver, I would not make a cleaver duelist. I'm not like, if I have a really good axe, I'm not going to think, oh, I'll wait to get a cleaver for a cleaver whip duelist. I'll just get an axe duelist. But if you have a really good cleaver and you can use a duelist out of it, totally get this whip in here, because it adds so much utility. Even if you never use it, or you use it once every 2 battles, it's 3 stam. Like, who cares? 3 stam is basically nothing. So just the ability to do stuff in these battles where you need that disarm is super, super helpful. And same thing with these, with the two-handed cleaver right here. You could, yeah, I guess the argument here is you could have just gone like with an axe, but the versatility of the two-hander with the whip here is just so phenomenal. So I hope you learn something here about how to use whips. You can probably watch some of my fight guide videos, and you'll see where whips would be really good. And I hope you found this helpful. I'll see you guys soon.